to, good afternoon to Susan Michel, Myrna Skoller. This mic is all yours.
Hey, ladies.
Hi, Lynn, did you start the YouTube?
Yes, it is on.
Oh, so one show is going right into another then? Because I didn't see you start me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, hello. My name is Susan Michel. I am grateful to be here. I caught the tail end of the last talk, which was very enlightening, and I love that song. So, thank you, thank you. I am the author of Surrender to Joy, From Suicide to Serenity. I teach the transformational truth of A Course in Miracles, which we are all here to study, to learn, to embody the knowledge of. And my good friend and soul sister from Boca Raton, Florida, is here with me today. She is the author of Private Lessons with Jesus, along with quite a few other books. Private Lessons with Jesus is a great complement to Course in Miracles workbook for students. How are you, Myrna?
Pretty good now. This morning, I had a hairdresser appointment, which I had forgotten completely about. The appointment was for 9:15, and at 9:12 is when I realized that I had the appointment at 9:15. I wasn't even dressed. I just kind of overslept. I was dallying, around this morning. And I made it by 9:30, which surprised me. I was like a house on fire. Anyway, so that was my morning. And then I came back and then just got into the realm of now calming down and just being back to my calm self as I hope to be, try to be. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, your hair looks really good and you always look so beautiful. Yeah, I know. We all kind of well, I think I go in and out of the infinite intelligence that I'm a part of. That's how I would describe my days. And I know being here with you and everyone in the chat room helps me reconnect to the truth of who I am. If anyone wants to share, anyone in the chat room, just raise your hand or let us know. I love to hear thoughts from other Course in Miracles students and other Course in Miracles teachers. I will start with the introduction of my book. As I usually do, what I write in Surrender to Joy is I write, my passion is God. God is love and joy and beauty. He is all that is good in the world. Everything else is our own miscreation. When we are filled with joy, we are connected to God. When we are not joyful, we have lost our connection to all that is real. This is my message. It can be clarified with 3 simple words: surrender to joy. There is nothing to find. All we need to do is surrender. And I think what A Course in Miracles teaches is very simple. The truth is very simple. Only the love is real. Everything else is illusory. However, it is very clear that the world is run on the egoic thought system. So there is a lot of negativity in the world that we see, but what A Course in Miracles is teaching us to do is to look beyond that. Yeah, it's like in this world, I do believe we learn through contrast. We always have a choice. Do we connect to the truth of who we are, or do we live in our egoic thought system, which is based on fear? I mean, we have 2 choices at each and every moment, love or fear. love is the truth and fear is everything else. All those other emotions, anxiety, anger, sadness, they all fall under the umbrella of fear. So we have a choice at each and every moment. But A Course in Miracles is very clear that only the love is real. I was listening to a documentary. I'm always listening to spiritual documentary, Course in Miracles documentaries. And there was an analogy given about, imagine if you were a doll and you were made out of salt, and this salt doll starts walking closer to the ocean. And then there was a screen that was showing an image that was showing a salt doll walking into the ocean. As you walk into the ocean, the salt doll is going to disintegrate, and he is just going to become the ocean. And I think that is really the truth of all of us. God, Course in Miracles tells us, God has but one son. We are all part of that sonship. But when we disconnect ourselves from our creator, we do not feel peace, love, joy, and happiness. We can't, because the source of our joy stems from our connection to God, so we all crave we crave being at home with God in heaven. So this is really what Course in Miracles is teaching us, to recognize at each and every moment that we are never alone. At each and every moment, we're being instructed to kind of surrender. I mean, I love that word surrender, even though that word surrender is not in A Course in Miracles, because Helen Schuckman, from what I was told, did not like the word surrender. Surrender is just such a beautiful word for what it takes for us to reconnect to the truth of who we are. Any thoughts on that, Myrna?
What you just said, was interesting about the salt doll disintegrating in the ocean, becoming one with the ocean. And I couldn't help but make that analogy with the way we are with God. It's just a matter, as we go closer and closer to God and draw that image closer to us, we sort of melt into the loveliness of God. We become one with God. So it was an interesting analogy, because that's what I thought of, getting closer to God and walking with that understanding that God is open to accepting that oneness, which we never left. So it's not that God is just accepting it now, but what always was still is. And when we get away from that thought, then we become fearful, because we feel that we're alone. And we're never alone. The Course in Miracles states that over and over again, that if we just allow ourselves to adhere to the peace and love that we're given to feel, because that's what we are, then how can we be alone? How can aloneness ever really come into the paint a picture that's not true? Because we are not alone. And yet there are so many lonely people in the world. I mean, I've felt lonely many times in my life. I think once I became available to understanding of who I really am and what I am and what I belong to and who I belong to, all with capital H's, who and what. And it's all God with a capital G. I mean, that's really what it is. So that's who I am. And we have to really embody it through, not just by what we're reading, through experience, through various different things that we go through in life that teach us those things. We go through life with the lessons that we need to learn, and we've discussed this. And sometimes, even though things seem to be out of kilter, things that are not really that don't seem to be teaching us are really are our lessons and are teaching us what we're supposed to gain from it. And there's something to gain from everything. I think from every action, from every activity, from every feeling of neglect, as well as every feeling of happiness. I mean, in other words, whatever we're feeling, we are able to learn from that. If I'm feeling neglectful, and that means or neglected, that means I'm feeling alone and I'm denying the love of God. When I'm feeling fulfilled and happy, then I'm with God. And I'm not talking about the ego's happiness. I'm talking about the love of God, which gives us happiness of the soul. And we know the difference. I've learned the difference, right, Susan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are not dependent on anything of the world for our happiness. The only thing that we need to feel the peace, love, joy, and happiness that is our birthright is to connect to God right here, right now. There are different tools that we can use. I say the three easiest character traits to embody to remember the truth of who we are is acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude. I mean, acceptance is accepting everything in our life exactly as it is right now, not trying to make anything different. I mean, our happiness is not in the future. um, A Course in Miracles is very clear that it's so important to release the past and to release the future. It encourages us to go from horizontal to vertical, way of being, and just to be fully present in the moment, right here, right now, and to just accept everything in your life exactly as it is just a great way to connect to Christ consciousness. I have a mantra that I say frequently: what if everything is just perfect right here, right now? It is a discipline, though. It's definitely a discipline to enter into that space of being fully present in the moment, because it's not what the world teaches. It's not how the world runs itself. So to stay fully present in the moment is a discipline. I think technology in so many ways is good. I mean, we wouldn't actually be right here in this meeting right now if it wasn't for Zoom. Years ago, there were no computers. So there's a lot of benefits to technology. But on the other hand, it can also take you away from being fully present in the moment, because the large majority of people are just really addicted to their cell phone. So they're not fully present with what they're doing. They're just constantly distracting themselves by staring at their cell phone all day. And it's stressful. It's a very stressful way to live, because when I spend time with someone, I think to know that that person is just fully present with me, it's very calming. It's very I feel connected to the person that I'm with. I feel connected to myself. It's a very peaceful interaction that I have when someone is fully present with me and not glaring at their cell phone all the time. Acceptance, and then there's gratitude. Gratitude is being thankful for everything that we have in our life, which is one of the it's the subject, not one of the subjects. It is the subject of the lesson of the day. Lesson 217 is a review of lesson 197. Today is the 217th day of 2025. So lesson 217 being a repetition here of lesson 197 states, it can be but my gratitude I earn. Who should give thanks for my salvation but myself? And how but through salvation can I find the self to whom my thanks are due? I mean, A Course in Miracles, tells us that God does not need our gratitude, but we need to be grateful in order to connect to the truth, because gratitude is very empowering. Gratitude is very loving. Gratitude is the opposite of entitlement. Gratitude is a very open energy. So when I am grateful, it helps me to remember the truth of who I am, like just to go out into the world and be grateful for everything that I come across. It just expands my energy. And it again reconnects me to source energy. And then the last character trait that really helps us remember who we are, which is the most important character trait, I think, is forgiveness. Because when we can forgive our brother, when we can forgive ourselves, this is the only way that we can connect with our innocence. Guilt is of the ego, innocence is of God. So as I forgive my brother, as I forgive myself, I remember who I am. I remember that I am innocent. So, and I say that affirmation to myself a lot also. I heard A Course in Miracles teachers say today, we are guilty in time, but in truth, we are all innocent. So I thought that was an interesting way to phrase it. I mean, I guess in time, we've all made mistakes, but since time is not real, our mistakes have no power over us. And God does not even see our mistakes because God does not condemn us. The only ones that condemn us are ourselves, our ego. Our ego loves to condemn, right? But God does not condemn. God is incapable of condemnation. So God sees each one of his beautiful sons as just completely innocent. And until we can connect to this state of innocence, we can't connect to the mindset of God. We can't connect to source energy. Right, Myrna?
Yes, that's right, Susan. So true. You spoke about being fully present in the moment, and you use the cell phone as an example. And that brought me back to a series on TV that I watched, The White Lotus. It was very popular series. And each episode, or I should say, each season takes us to a different place of like a spa of some kind, a meditational spa. One of the segments or one of the seasons took place in Italy. Well, the last one was in Thailand, and everybody goes to this health spa to unwind. And one of the conditions is that you have to give up your cell phone for the week. And now there's somebody collecting the cell phones. And there's one man that can't give up his cell phone. First of all, he's got a lot of problems. So that tells you right there that he's not going to give up his cell phone. He's so distracted by what he left back home, which was a business that's in trouble and so forth. And his family just really wants to relax and enjoy the spa and the meditational qualities that it offers and the yogis and all that. But he has to have his cell phone. And it just reminds me too, I think we're all subject to that, the need to keep ourselves into the distraction of the cell phone. I mean, it's become so much a part of us that we don't really see that it's not a part of us. And, when I think back to, I grew up in the 1950s, I remember the first time that I saw a television set. I was like, my jaw dropped open. A television set, walking people, that seemed to be walking around, behind a screen. I mean, it was just such an amazing thing. And I wonder, well, what was it that we did before that? Before that, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have televisions, and we had to keep ourselves busy really with our own forms of enjoyment. As a kid, I mean, we played stickball, we played potsy, we played all kinds of different hide and seek, and now it's become, the world is so different today, and it seems to me that I've gone through so many different aspects of my life that have led me to this point where the world is different. It has changed. And I just like to think that even though it's changed and that we're so tied up in all the everyday necessities that we tie ourselves down to, we need to take the time for ourselves, because it's harder to do that today. We have too many distractions going on between the internet and the cell phones and AI and all the things that we think we need to accomplish in the course of a day. I mean, I hear people saying that, oh my God, I'm so busy, I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't accomplish everything in a day. And yet, if we just take the time to realize that what is more important than anything, what's most important is to take that time, to take that quiet, to distract, to rid ourselves of the distractions that really don't mean anything, that just keeps us chasing our tail, going around and around in circles, which is what we're doing. You spoke about, I too, it's so easy to become distracted, and staying in the moment, staying in the present is something that we have to really try to do, because unless we have that, we really can't recognize, the stillness to which we were created from, and the stillness, the quiet, the loveliness that we're really meant to embody by being souls that we are. No doubt, that's what we are. We are the soul of God. We are manifested from that love. And, by being quiet and in stillness is when we can recapture that. And so I really I do try to understand that, picking up A Course in Miracles, reading an affirmation, reading a parable from something that Jesus might have said. It all lends itself to being in the moment. It's the only way we'll find anything true.
Yes. Yes. I mean, distractions are actually keeping us from God, because I too come across many people who tell me how busy they are, and I think in general, the world sees that as a positive, to just be so busy all the time. But I think in terms of a spiritual perspective, to just keep ourselves ultra busy is keeping us disconnected from God. I don't see that as being good at all. I remember when I lived in Manhattan for so many years, I think I prided myself on being busy, and I was running to the subway, and I was always going, going, going. I remember this story that I wrote in my book. I remember I was on my way to work, and I lived on 35th Street, and I would take the subway to work every morning, and I was running late. as I did, as I was frequently running late in New York, you know. So I raced to the subway, I raced down the steps, and my heart was just like beating really fast because I didn't want to be late to work. And I remember I looked down the subway, you know, the tunnel there to try to see the light of the train, and I couldn't see any light of the train. So I just started, you know, I don't know what I did. I hyperventilated, and I remember I was really stressed out, and and then I looked down again, the train still wasn't coming, and then I started to breathe harder, you know, and I was so upset. Looked down for a third time, this train still wasn't coming, and I just thought I was going to jump out of my skin if that darn train didn't get right there. And then all of a sudden I got this, you know, this kind of this message, this internal message. And there was I came up with this phrase, and what I heard was, the challenge is to live in time and out of time at the same time. So in time is being aware that I did have to go to work. I mean, I think we have to have an idea of what time it is just so we can get to our appointments, but we don't want time to control us. So out of time is just being fully present in the moment that we're in, you know, at the same time. So it's being aware of time, but being fully present in the moment. And something about that phrase was very calming. And I just started to calm down and realize there was nothing I could do about whether the train came or it didn't. So I might as well just relax. So I did. I started relaxing. And then all of a sudden, the train came. At the moment, it was almost like the moment I just accepted the moment, you know, accepted the situation that I was in, you know, accepted the moment as it was, then the train came. You know, it's like my energy changed. And then when the subway opened the door, I got on the train. And again, I wasn't all stressed out about being on time for work. I was just kind of, you know, enjoying the ride on the subway. And then I kind of connected to the energy of a child. There was this little 2-year-old girl on the train, and I started connecting to her energy. As I say so often, you know, when you can connect to the innocent energy of a child, it's such an empowering energy to connect to. So I started connecting to the energy of this child, and I ended up just kind of like waving to her and like playing, you know, it's kind of boo, you know, hide and seek or whatever with your eyes, just playing games. And I was just feeling very happy. And that day when I got off the train, I remember walking to work. It was a beautiful spring day. I got to work on time. I was not late. So it's really interesting when we can just like calm down, stay fully present in the moment, and shift our energy, everything around us seems to change as well. I mean, as A Course in Miracles tells us over and over, the external world is nothing more, well, the external world, the world is not real, we know that, but the external world that we experience is nothing more than a reflection of an internal condition. So it's not about like running around and trying to keep busy all the time. That doesn't do us any good at all. It's about like slowing down and just being fully present in the moment. I like that little phrase that came to me. The challenge is to live in time and out of time at the same time. And the other thing is, God is always talking to us. God is always guiding us. As Course in Miracles students, you know, that's what we live for. We live to hear what God is guiding us to do, what the Holy Spirit is telling us or helping us, supporting us in finding, you know, which is the path of love. And when we're moving too fast, we cannot hear God's guidance. We block his guidance with all these distractions. So it's important to just like still our minds, be fully present in the moment. And this is how we find our way in the world, you know, I think I did a post on social media this week about flowing with the river. You know, we need to allow God to guide us, still our mind, open our minds, open our hearts to listen to what he has to say. And this is how peace is found, right, Myrna?
Yes, because I do that a lot. I will I will listen for the voice of God. I will. And the answers always come. They just do. I'm never left hanging unaware or unavailable to the answer. I'm always given the answer. We are. It's just a matter of being willing to hear it. How do I hear it? I'll maybe face a dilemma, something that seems to be, kind of challenging me in a way. I won't even say worrying me because I try not to let things worry me. But if something should be coming up, challenging me, and I'll really turn it over to God. And the way to do it is to just stop and just wait for the voice to come, the voice within, which gives us the answer. That, and that as soon as I feel that, I always feel, when I hear the answer, I always feel the stress just draining from my body and knowing that I'm not alone. As we said before, are we alone? No, we're not. As long as God is, as you say, is always talking to us, but we have to be willing to accept it, to hear the voice. And if we hear it, just to interpret it in simple terms. It's really never difficult. God doesn't give us anything difficult to do at all. It's all so simple, but we don't really accept how simple things are. We seem to think everything is so complicated, and it's just the ego that complicates things for us. But aside from the ego's dictates, when we're in the scope of the God within, because that's what we are. The God within is also the God that speaks to us. The God within is the God that we hear, because it's not coming from any source outside of ourselves. It's coming from truth, and we know. I mean, I only speak for myself. I really do. I've just found so much worthiness in the world through the fact that I refuse to uh, make myself a part of the devastation that we certainly can be made aware of. What we do is just, turn on the news, and that's where it all lays, real for the most part. If we stay within the course within our own life, the life of that we're given to feel, then we can help those that are far away just by our prayers, just by our love that we're extending. It's not that we have to just discount what's going on in the world. Um, it's just that when we become of the world, and being of the world is to feel that there's no hope, that to feel fear as a result of what we're listening to and what we're hearing. But because we're given so much power to extend, we have a lot that we can share, that we can heal in the world. I think if the world got together and everybody prayed, look how powerful that would be on a collective level. So I think more and more people are becoming understanding of that. I really do feel that. And as that happens, then things will start to see healing in the world, I think. And I see it already, even though it doesn't seem to be apparent. But to me, in many ways, it is apparent.
Yeah, as you so often say, Myrna, it's being in the world, but not of the world. I believe that we are basically taking on these earthly bodies to learn lessons for a while, and then when our learning is complete, we shed these costumes. That's what they are. They're costumes. And we go back home. We go back to our creator. I mean, the Course in Miracles tells us that when we see our brother as a body, we're not seeing the truth of who he is, because our worldly vision really can't see the truth. It's to look through the body to the Christ consciousness that resides within, that allows us to see our brother clearly. I believe that's what a miracle is. Anything that comes from love is a miracle. How do we allow ourselves to be conduits for God's divine energy? Well, it's about surrendering. It's about feeling the holiness within our own heart, within our own soul, within our own being, and then extending that love to our brother, seeing the Christ-like consciousness within our brother, seeing past his errors, seeing past his mistakes, seeing the innocence within him. And there is just so much joyful energy in that way of connecting to someone, because miracles are always a win-win. When we can see the innocence in our brother, we feel the innocence in ourselves. When we feel the innocence and the love within ourselves, we automatically extend that to our brother. It's just such an empowering, joyful mindset to reside in. And again, this is what Course in Miracles is teaching us to do. A Course in Miracles tells us that the bedrock, that the foundation of this thought system is trust. It is so important to be able to trust that God is always with us, to trust that we have nothing to fear. The Course in Miracles acronym for trust is to rely upon spirit totally. I do believe the two words, trust and surrender, they go together. To trust in God completely, we need to release our fear, but we also need to surrender our will with a small w to his will with a capital W. So I think trust and surrender, they're kind of, they're very closely intertwined. And that, again, it's just such a beautiful mindset to reside in. So on that note, it is 2:11, and I need to leave a little early today. Do you have any final thoughts, Myrna?
Well, if you have to leave early, I'm not going to express them. Yeah, I know you have to leave early, and that's fine. So we can save that for next time. Okay. That was beautiful, Susan. And yeah, thank you. It was a nice sharing.
It was a beautiful sharing. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I look forward to seeing you again on Friday. And I will now return the microphone to Lynn.
Thank you so much, Susan, Myrna. You guys are precious, and I'm so grateful for you being here. Thank you for coming in. Even I'm glad you didn't say, "Well, I'll just call off because I have to leave early." I'm glad you came in. So, plus you look gorgeous today. So wherever you're going, they'll be impressed. I love you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.